We are a group of people who enjoy company of each other. We enjoy dining together, driving our cars together, and attending various events together. If we Google Apple user group, results in more than 16 million hits, indicating the enormous interest consumers have in the sharing their Apple consumption experiences with other Apple users. Consumers form communities around brands. In brand communities, a brand is the focal point of social interaction among passionate consumers. These consumers use the community to share their brand experiences and brand stories. Brand communities rest entirely on the consumer's interaction, where they tend to evolve brands with an interesting history, mainly high involvement products like car, motorcycle, and other electronic gadgets. Brand communities can be a very powerful force affecting brand value because the meaning found in the social engagement in brand communities adds significantly to brand loyalty. Brand communities have existed for long in practice. The breakthrough research article on this subject was Brand Community. The publication constituted the conceptualization of brand community in the context of brand management. The consumer-based approach, the personality approach, and the relational approach deal with the exchange between one marketer and one consumer. All three approaches fundamentally changed the traditional notion of brand equity as something created entirely in the domain of the marketer. The personality approach and the relational approach further constituted the brand value as something co-created in a dialogue between marketer and consumer. Community approach goes one step ahead. As per the community approach, the overall brand value is created as a triadic interaction model. In this triadic interaction model, consumer and marketer are the two strong pillars which has been in so many theories, studies and approaches. And the third pillar goes to the community. Community is a group of people who mingle together, who discuss on product and who find the meaning of the brand. The community approach adds meaning found in the social interaction among dedicated consumers to the theories of how brand value can be created. The brand communities are social entities that reflect the situated role of brands in the day-to-day lives of the consumers and the way in which brands connect to the consumer, consumer to brand, and consumer to consumer. In other words, the existence of a brand community also requires interaction between consumers. Brands are social entities experienced, shaped, and changed in communities. Therefore, although brand meaning might be ascribed and communicated to consumers by marketers, consumers in turn uncover and activate their own brand meanings, which is communicated back to the marketers and the associated brand community. The community approach adds group of consumers to the picture, which changes the basic premises of the brand-consumer exchange. In the continuous brand-consumer dialogue shaping the brand, the marketer is no longer find himself having a dialogue with only one consumer, but with potentially millions and millions of consumers. The consumers are likely to continue the brand dialogue long after the marketer believes the meaning is over. New rules of the game apply to the management of a brand when countless consumers are able to share good and bad experiences. In the presence of incredible rumors, in face-to-face setting as well as on internet. The social benefits experienced by consumers in brand communities add significantly to brand loyalty. Community consumers are extremely loyal and enthusiastic. But at the same time, community consumers are also autonomous consumers, capable of collectively rejecting marketing actions. Many of the advantages associated with the consuming the brand are created or enhanced among the community members, leaving the marketeer with a limited option of influencing the brand meaning. This shift in negotiation power influences the creation of brand meaning and brand equity, as the negotiation of brand meaning primarily takes place on the consumer's terms. Due to shift in negotiation power, communities are difficult to manage. Consumers are able to hijack the brand and have potential to take the brand meaning very far from that intended by the marketeer and choose to overrule brand management decisions, as in the case of Apple Newton brand we have seen. Besides providing social benefits to consumers, brand communities serve as an important source of information. The sharing of brand information can benefit both consumers as well as marketeer. Brand management from the community approach perspective is complex, and the autonomous groups of consumers can be difficult to deal with. But the level of brand loyalty and the depth of brand meaning found in the communities can be priceless, hence it's worth knowing the basic mechanisms ruling this approach. The social brand perspective in the community approach draws on the scientific tradition. This tradition represents an intellectual framework as well as a set of methodologies. As an intellectual framework, it focuses on the concept of culture and its influence on consumer behavior. The methodological orientation emphasizes a real-world approach, which means that researchers participate in the real world of subject of investigation. The word community is comprehensible to everybody, but how it is to be understood in the context of brand management requires a more accurate definition. Community is a key concept in sociology, characterized by having three markers, three basic characteristics which forms a community. The three markers of a community are consciousness of kind, shared ritual and traditions, and a sense of moral responsibility. If these characteristics are present in a community, does exist in theory. In the traditional sense of the word, a community is a geographically bound entity. In the same sense, it can be formal or also it can be informal. Findings in research in regards the first marker of community, consciousness of kind, suggests that members feel an important connection to the brand, but more importantly, they feel a stronger connection towards one another. Members feel that they sort of know each other at some level, even if they have not met ever. The feeling of sort of knowing each other is characterized by and enhanced by two aspects. First is the legitimacy, and the second is the positional brand loyalty. Legitimacy is based on observations indicating that members have a feeling of other members either for the right or for the wrong reasons. As expressed by one community member, we are the members really knowing how and why the brand should be consumed, while they consume the brand for the wrong reasons. A positional brand loyalty is the other characteristics that one can enhance members' consciousness of kind. Brand community members underpin this sense of belonging by sharing a dislike for competing brands. Macintosh community members tend to criticize PCs and Microsoft, while the Saab brand communities, for instance, there is a general tendency to put down the competing Swedish car brand known as Volvo. The second marker of community, shared rituals and traditions, typically focus on sharing consumption experiences with the brand. All the brand communities encountered in the project have some form of rituals or traditions that function to maintain the culture of the community. These rituals include special greetings, a celebration of the history of the brand, and sharing stories of the brand. Storytelling is an important means of creating and maintaining community. The storytelling aspect of the brand community can be very powerful. In the case of the Apple Newton community, supernatural, religious, and magical motifs are common. These are strong elements of survival, the miraculous, and the return of Creator. The third marker of brand community, sense of social responsibility, is a sense of duty to the community as a whole and to the individual members of the community, and it is what produces collective action and contribution to the group cohesion. These characteristics were also displayed in the social interaction around the three brands in question. These communities display moral systems, but not in a very high-flown sense of the word. They do not relate to the life and death matters. Moral systems can be highly contextualized, such as a case with the brand communities. These moral systems serve two major purposes: the integration and the retention of members, and the assistance of members in the proper use of the brand. The brand community pivots around an already existing brand and is usually established and run by enthusiastic volunteers. However, the three markers of community can also be observed at so-called brand fest, where a proactive marketer establishes consumer interaction and can facilitate the environment of the brand community. Mac Alexander in 2002 study of the international building of the brand communities offers insight into the possibilities of a proactive marketer. If the marketer understands and respect the dynamics of a brand community, it is possible to proactively create a platform that facilitates a brand community to evolve. They belonged to the broader community that understands and supports them in realizing their consumption goals. Corporate sponsored brand fests are often used to recruitment of new members, while the existing communities typically consist of die-hard brand enthusiasts. The formulation of brand community theory is very much influenced by subcultures of consumption. The two aspects, however, differ significantly and should not be confused. A subculture of consumption is a distinctive subgroup of society that self-selects on the basis of shared commitment to the particular product class, brand, or consumption activity. These characteristics are more far-reaching than the consciousness of kind, rituals, and traditions, and sense of moral responsibilities that characterize a brand community. In this regards, it is important to notice that the membership of a consumption subculture is more demanding than the membership of a brand community. A subculture tends to define itself in opposition to the broader culture, which is not in the case with the brand community. Brand communities do not typically reject aspects of the surrounding culture's ideology. They embrace them.